What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on Brotherhood Outdoors. Guys, I have not posted on here in quite some time, so these last couple of videos it's felt kind of different posting on here. Anyways, guys, I want to discuss a topic with you guys that I've gotten questions about over the past couple of months here, and not really just on this channel but my other channel. I was posting a little bit of outdoor stuff on my main channel. Link is in the description always. My truck channel, regarding what cameras I use and what's the real purpose for the cell cameras that I use and which ones do I prefer. Now, I can only speak on the two brands that I personally own, and I'm going to compare them, price point, stuff like that, and let you guys know what I feel like is the better buy for the money, and features that I like, features that I don't like. Then you guys can decide what you want. I'm going to leave links to both of these cameras in the description below though, just in case you guys decide you want to buy one of these. But let me explain to you the two cameras that I have and which one I like better and why. And before we start talking about the cameras, the first thing you need to understand is the point of the cameras and why a cell camera is a great option. Now, back when trail cameras became popular, I wasn't really like big into buying them. This is back, you're talking like 2008 to 12 range, like pretty much tons of cameras were flooding the market. Essentially, there was a lot of options out there, and like Cuddy Back was like known as like the best at the time, you know, all over the Outdoors channel. It's get a Cuddy Back or whatever. They do also offer some cell cameras as well, but that is not what I have. Those cameras were great, but the thing of it is, as cool as they were, to find out what's on your camera, you still have to go penetrating into your timber, into your best spots or wherever you've got your cameras, and check those cards, pull them, see what's on them. And if you put that card back in, you could literally leave that camera and within an hour you could have a deer right there in front of your camera that's like a hitless buck in the middle of the day, and for all you know, you could have snuck back out into the stand that afternoon and got a crack at him because he was on your property moving about and you had no idea. Now, of course, some people, you know, they don't like it. They say, oh, the cameras are cheating, and oh, you know, like you know, cell cameras are even worse. I mean, like, you could just get a picture and run out to the woods and shoot a deer real quick. That's really not the main purpose of the camera. The main purpose of the cameras is to educate you on what your deer are doing in real time, day to day, because you've got guys that are like, oh, you know, like, I always hunt by the rule, you know, don't get in the woods to try to hunt a buck until after October 25th, or guys are like after November 5th, or I only hunt this certain day, or, you know, the rut's always pretty darn similar for your area year to year. It doesn't really change that much, but it could change by a day or two, and knowing that change and when it takes place could be the difference between you getting a nice deer that year and you not getting a nice deer at all. So that's just something to think about. And when it comes to my trail cameras, this is what I use them for. So if I'm trying to save a certain spot for, you know, the rut, or for to fill my buck tag, and I've got a spot that I think is the best spot on the property, but it's only the best spot because I don't touch it until a certain time or until I see a certain deer on camera, what have you. If I don't have cell cameras, the only way I'm going to find out if that spot is being actively used by my hitless buck at the time, I have to go back in there, leave ground scent, possibly spook the deer out, check the camera, and then get out. And now you might have pictures of him even, you know, that very day, let's say, but that deer can pick up so quickly on the fact that you were in there that you might be like, okay, he's in there, so I'm going to go out there this weekend and get him. Well, now that you went in there, he might not be there that weekend because you put ground scent in there and you spooked out the area for all you know. So, you know, things to think about. Really, for me, biggest thing is real-time feedback on what's going on your property to educate you on what your deer are doing day to day, hour for hour, so you can make the best decisions on when to take time off to get out in the woods, when to call in sick, you know, so you can go pursue that buck fever that you've got kicking in. So those are the main reasons why I use my cameras, because let's just be honest, it's kind of nice to know that. Like, we were looking at our camera pictures one time and I was like, babe, 5 a.m. this buck moved in and we haven't seen him in weeks. So the next morning we go out there, we see the deer. So that's just like an awesome thing to be able to actually have that real-time information, because that can make a huge difference on your level of success while out in the woods. It's hard enough to kill those deer even if you do have cell cameras. It's way harder if you don't have them. So that's just something to think about. So the first camera we have here is a Multicell camera, and I believe it is a XV6000. And this camera has been phenomenal. I've actually got two of these. They're both on a Verizon phone plan, and I have not had a single complaint about these things. I mean, the feed is awesome. The live time photos, They're quick and snappy. I've been getting pictures right here. You can see coming in on my phone, my Multicell app right there, non-stop since I've been out here. So, I mean, the photos are pretty much instantaneous and they're very clear and crisp images. And that's something that I want to touch on. So on the topic of crisp and clear images, the Multicell Cam, for what you pay each month, which I believe is about the same. I think it's like 15 bucks a month for like unlimited photos. Let me just check on my app real quick, just so I'm giving you the most accurate information possible here. So I've got my Multicell app. I've got my Multicell, Hunt Stand, HuntWise, Spy Point. Let's go to the Multicell one since that's what we're talking about here right now. So it's sending me live photos here as I'm going, and they're very crisp, very clear. You've got your temperature, moon phase, camera model, XV6000, date, time, all that stuff. Awesome stuff. Here's a picture that I got last night, and you can see how nice and clear the image is. Here, let it focus, okay. How nice and clear the image is, and that's from about 15 yards out in front of the camera in the dark. That's the infrared, and it never seems to bother the deer either. But anyways, all that being said, let me go to devices. I've got 2 cameras right now. Let me check out the plan and see what the options are. For the, what is it? The Pro Series Unlimited. That means unlimited photos and videos sent instantaneously. You can get the best of the best for $35 a month, and that's photos, videos, whatever. And if you add more cameras, it's $7.99 a month per additional camera, which I have an additional camera. This is the one that I have, which is actually $16.99 a month. My bad. I thought it was $15, but very close. So $16.99 a month, and that is unlimited photos. They come in like that, and they're crisp, they're clear, they're awesome, and definitely recommend this camera. I want to say this camera might have been $120, and then I think you get like your first, there's a bunch of images you get free when you first sign up. It's like get your first month free or however many photos free or something. So anyways, if you want to go with this, I think it's the best bang for the buck. It's a cheaper camera than the Spy Point, and the value for the photos is better. You get the resolution photos, whatever this camera can take quality wise that you pay for. Like let's say it's a 16 megapixel camera or 20, I don't know what it is, I don't really remember. You get 16 megapixel or 20 megapixel photos sent to your phone. Not, oh well, the camera's capable of 20, but you only get like 4 megapixel images unless you pay for the extra. That's how Spy Points is, which I freaking hate. When I bought my 3rd cell camera, I didn't go with a Spy Point, and I only use a Spy Point because I already freaking bought the thing. But if I was gonna go buy another camera, it would not be the Spy Point, and I'll tell you why. This is the one that I use that I like the most. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's freaking awesome. Like I said, all the reasons I use it, real live feed and information on what's going on in your property, so you don't have to penetrate into your property in the deer season when you're trying to stay out of there and trying to put the odds in your favor. It's kind of crucial, and you just don't want to mess things up. If it's hard enough to kill a mature deer as it is, just imagine how much harder it is when you're in there all the time trying to check on your deer photos and stuff. It's just it can be a mess. So I'm at my 2nd location, and you can see this. I'll show you a food plot in a sec, but I'm gonna zoom in here and show you some turkeys we got over here. If I can use the zoom, I don't know how the zoom is. I don't know why it's not letting me zoom. Anyways, you can probably still see him if I can hold the camera steady here. Right there. There's a, right there in the middle there, right in the Y of that branch on the hinge cut tree there, that you can see a turkey out in the field. And then to the left, right over here, actually I'd take it back right there. You can see another one. Right there behind that big tree here. So we're at the 2nd location here. I'm actually just mowing and maintaining some trails here. You can see they're all nice and mowed off. I like keeping my trails maintained. I know it's not necessary, it's just you know, out in the woods here. Gives me something to do, and I like being out here anyway, so why not? So we're at location number 2. Those turkeys are still out in that field about 200 yards out. But this is the Spy Point camera, and I believe this camera was about $130, and it's got this big old antenna on it, but the camera itself, the body of it is way smaller. So I mean, you can see why the antenna doesn't fit inside the camera like the Multicell ones do. There's just not much camera to hide it in. But this is the Spy Point. I'm just not as happy with this camera. I always thought that the Spy Point cameras were pretty nice and whatever. I guess maybe it's just a name, it just sounds cool. It's not that impressive. I mean, it does take photos, it sends them to your phone. Sometimes it's delayed a couple of hours, sometimes it's delayed a couple of days. I think the fastest I ever got a photo was a half hour after it was taken. And again, I don't know if it's just this particular model, since it's a cheaper model, they just make sure that they leave you with desiring a lot more out of it. But the Multicell ones, they perform 10 times better. It's the Link Micro, and this is on a Verizon plan as well. And I'm going to go over a couple of the things that I dislike about this camera, and I'm going to explain it. I have an actually good reason. It's not just simply, oh, I'm a brand fanboy and I like one more than the other. I don't really care that much about trail camera brands. As long as they function, that's all I care about. So I'm looking at the Spy Point app here, and I'm like looking at my photos, and they really are usually super delayed, but I'm like, how come it's not sending me any photos right in front of the camera? Well, I selected the best unlimited plan, which was, if you can go to camera, you can go to plans. I selected the premium one for 15 bucks a month, which sounds good. You're like, oh, that's cheaper than the Multicell one, that's $17 a month. Here's the problem. If you want HD photos, see, let's go over here, let's go to photos. You see this that says you have 14 HD photos, 14 left. That's because I had to pay extra money just to get HD photos. And then to get an HD photo, you have to literally select full HD and confirm your request for a photo, and then you have to wait until they send you your HD photo, which is essentially the photo the camera already took that's high quality, but they don't let you see them unless you pay the extra for high resolution, which is super frustrating. So let me show you the difference here. So here's a picture of a turkey that I got, and super blurry. I mean, you can see it, you know it's a turkey, but it's real blurry. And then there's the HD photo, and look how much more clear that photo is. You can see the coloring on her head, her feathers, I mean everything. You can see every blade of grass individually. Like that's what's frustrating, and the Multicell one does that for, well, I want to say for free. For the extra $2 a month you pay for the premium plan on Multicell, you just get the option to get unlimited high resolution photos. But even if you got the standard free Multicell thing, that I think is like 100 photos a month for free, if you're keeping it only 100 photos a month and you don't care to have any more, even if you do the free one for that, you still get the highest resolution photos that your camera can take for the free plan. You just won't get as many unless you pay for a plan. So for me, huge con is having to pay a bunch of extra just to see the high resolution photos that your camera already took, just for them to allow you to see high resolution photos. And you already bought the camera, you're already paying 15 bucks a month to get the photos. And then if you want to get high res, it's just an additional, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's $1 a photo or it's like a couple cents a photo. I don't really remember what it is. It wasn't a ton. I think it was like, you know, I think it was like 10 cents a photo for high res. I think it's like $5 for 50 high resolution photos, which for me it's just like, then just charge people $2 extra a month for each of your plans, so that no matter which plan they select, they get their high res photos. For me, it's frustrating, and I feel like I'm trying to be taken advantage of when I'm, you know, paying for something and then I have to pay even more for something just to see the quality of photos you know the camera can already take. They just don't want you to, I don't know, it's some weird company thing where they probably just are trying to make a little extra money, but it's kind of dumb. Well, I'm sitting here editing my video and I just realized I deleted my closing clip to that video. But my final thoughts on the Spy Point is, people don't like feeling like they're being taken advantage of, and when it comes to the way they have their cellular plan set up, you have to pay extra to see the high resolution photos your camera already took. Kind of turns me away. I'd rather just pay the extra $2 a month and get the high resolution photos the camera's already taking, and not having to pay to have the permission to actually see the high res photos. I've had some photos of nice bucks in the fall that you know, I get the photo at 6 a.m. in the morning and I'm thinking like, oh man, it kind of looks like there's antlers on that deer, but I can't tell. And then I have to wait 2 or 3 hours for them to approve the high resolution photo. And then they grant me access to seeing the high resolution version of it. And then it turns out it was a really nice deer, or sometimes I think it's a buck. And then turns out it's just a doe, and there happen to be odd branches in the background making it look like it was a deer, but since it was so blurry because they don't give you the high resolution right away, it's just inconvenient. And when it comes to that kind of a thing, for what I use my cameras for, inconvenience and delayed photos and all that stuff, and having to pay extra to get high resolution photos, which you don't even get them instantaneously. Even when you do pay the extra, you're basically paying to then opt in on high resolution photos if you want them. So you have to go individually and select high resolution and request it. It's not just like worked into the plan to where then every photo you get is automatically high resolution. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Links for those cameras are in the description below. For me personally, I would go with the Multi. I'd pay the extra, I think it's 40 bucks for the Multi. And then the plans are $2 more a month per plan essentially, but then you get all the high resolution photos instantaneously. You don't have to request them or pay extra and then request them, and then they approve them when they get around to it. You just get all the photos that are the high quality your camera already took, and it's working in the plan automatically. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe if you have not done so yet, and I will catch you guys in the next video.